and junk on you there. That's the first one. Now for the second one, notice it's kind of a twisting motion when you're pulling it out. Going in is a little more difficult. Coming out isn't too bad. Once again, make sure you're not dropping any of those pieces. Showing you the correct way that needs to go on. This side is the exact same way as the other one. Make sure you do it the same way. Another important side note here is that all of these plastic pieces are all the exact same, so you don't have to worry about where they're going. There's 10 of them and they're identical, so just make sure they're all looking okay and none of them are broken and all the springs are attached. You want to make sure you're getting this black piece as well, because it gets dirty and you can't really tell because of its color. So make sure you're getting that when you're cleaning it. Making sure to get that top piece under where all the lubricant has been. Use the sinks to help you out to your advantage. The dividers of the sinks are a great place to clean the pieces. You can use them to sit the big rods on top of, or the glass piece as well, as long as you're doing it carefully. Now before we get too much further, I want to move this glass piece so it doesn't get broken while we're sanitizing everything else. Like I said before, this is like the last thing that goes on, so carefully move it over. Put it in a safe spot where it can't be knocked over. Once again, noticing one of the other cracks. It's very easy. This thing gets really slippery, so just be very careful when you're sitting it down. These pieces that I pulled out at the very beginning, they can be washed as well. I forgot about that. So make sure they're in there, washed and sanitized. Run some water through there. Always check it for the grease on the side as well. Now that we've got that big glass piece out of the way, we can start assembling the other pieces. And before we do that, before we put them back in, you want to make sure you get that brush in there and clean it. Now what I'm doing now is kind of a speedy version. I'm actually doing both of the cleaning processes at once. Usually at the end of the night, this is all you will do. You'll actually go through here and clean out these holes. You'll take it apart and you'll sit everything over where I put the glass piece. You'll sit all the pieces there overnight and you'll let them dry. And in the morning, usually me or one of the managers will come in and put it together. But because I'm doing it as a kind of a super version here, I'm going to actually go ahead and put it back together to show you how that works. Notice I'm also going and scrubbing this top part because the hoppers, they get very dirty. Even if there's sanitizer that builds up, like I think that's just sanitizer right there, you don't want that to be sitting in there. You want it to be nice and clean. So make sure you take it. You can even dip it in some water and sanitizer and scrub it as well. Use that stepping stool. Like I said, at the end of the night, there's that stepping stool. Like I said, at the end of the night, you'll leave it just like this. Make sure it's off. You never want it to be on clean or on mode at all if it's empty. That's very, very important. That's a way to just throw the machine away if you turn those on all night. So make sure you're leaving it off, and then you're done for the end of the night. In the morning, I forgot about these pieces as well. Those need to be cleaned. It's very easy to forget about all the small pieces, so making sure you're cleaning all of those as you go. And you want to make sure you never leave the pieces in the water overnight. You want to sit them out so they can air dry. That's actually a part of the sanitation cycle there. They need to be completely air dried. And then in the morning, we'll pretend like we've gone the whole morning here. You'll actually come through and take everything. You want to make sure you clean it off again. Put it through a little more sanitizer. Another little side note here is you don't have to completely fill up these sinks. I think according to the safety rules they need to be at least halfway, but for what we do, we don't want to waste a lot of water, so you can just put a little bit in there and then kind of make sure it gets splashed up on top of the piece so it's all completely clean. Notice this petrol gel. This is what we use to assemble everything again. So now let's pretend it's in the morning, you're getting ready to open for the day, and the task on the register says assemble the soft serve machine. You'll come in and make sure everything's clean. and you'll begin to assemble. The very first thing you do is start with these two shaft pieces, and one of the first ones, I'm just going to sit it here, and I'm going to take some of this. It's kind of like Vaseline, and you want to put it all over the place. You want to get it especially around any of the rings that you see, the O-rings, the rubber ones. You want to make sure they're well lubricated. So do that first, and then any of the also inside this thing, make sure the grease gets inside there. Notice the way I'm putting it on, not like that, like this. You don't want the upright piece to be touching the other one. You want it to be facing out. So take a really, really good notice. That's actually a good way to ruin the machine. If you put it in backwards, ice cream can leak through the bottom. We've had that happen before. Notice the way I'm putting these spacer plastic pieces on. There are two holes in them. One of them is larger and one of them is smaller. Make sure you do that right. You can cause a lot of headache if you try forcing it in and it won't go in. This is where you have to be creative and just find a good way to get it on there without dropping it. I've developed a pretty good way, but it's going to be different for each of you. And when you're holding it, you'll want to put the part with the blades next to you, and you want to hold the other part like this. This is actually the best way I found to hold the piece. You want to be able to squeeze the two top pieces like I'm doing with my right hand, because when you put them inside, you'll actually need to squeeze them to get them inside the hole there. So just notice the way I'm holding this. That's really the best way to do it. So whatever you try to do, it's going to be easier if you just do it the way I'm doing it. So now you want to kind of squeeze on the springs there, get that piece inside, and just slowly push it all back in. Now on the video here, I'm doing it a little bit wrong. Notice how I'm pulling it out. Really, you really don't need to bang it that much. All you really have to do is just push in slowly. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to show you the turning motion. So all you really need to do is turn it and push at the same time. It shouldn't take quite that long, but it really needs to go in. Now notice it's flat. It's completely flat inside. Nothing is sticking outside. The other piece is going to go in the exact same way. Once again, making sure to use that gel so none of the pieces are going to be wearing against each other. And then putting these two spacer pieces on the back. If you do drop them, make sure you're doing it in the sink, just like that. You don't want it to be on the ground, so do most of your work on top of the sink. Really good camera view there at my elbow. There you go. Now that we've got the last piece on the bottom there, we can do the exact same thing with this one. And believe it or not, we're just about halfway done. Oh, once again, dropping another piece inside the sink. It's perfectly okay. If you get it on the floor, you have a bigger problem, so try not to do that. Even though these pieces aren't as delicate as the glass one, you could still break them if you dropped them, so be really careful with all the